one of the biggest money questions you'll probably ever face. You get a little extra cash, right? And suddenly you're stuck. Do you throw it at your debt? Or do you try to grow that money by investing it? It feels like a massive choice, one that could really shape your financial future. So let's break it down. Just imagine this. An extra $1,000 lands in your bank account. The responsible part of your brain immediately goes, yes, I can finally make a dent in that credit card bill. But then another part of you starts thinking, but what if I put this in the stock market? What could that $1,000 become? That single question is exactly what we're going to dive into. All right, here's our game plan. First, we'll look at the financial tug-of-war that's probably happening inside your head. Then, we're going to crunch some really simple numbers. After that, we'll get into the psychology of it all, before, finally, figuring out how you can make the absolute smartest decision for you. When you get right down to it, this whole thing is a classic battle between your head and your heart. One of them runs on cold, hard math, and the other one, it just wants some peace of mind. You know, your brain is busy calculating things, like investment returns and interest rates. It's all about the spreadsheet. But your heart? It's not looking at a spreadsheet. It just wants that constant, low-level buzz of stress from having debt to just finally go away. And let's be honest, that feeling is worth a whole lot. Okay, so let's put the feelings on pause for just a minute and listen to what our head has to say. The logical argument really just comes down to comparing two numbers. That's it. Here's the main idea in a nutshell. You look at the interest rate you're paying on your debt, and then you compare that to the return you could realistically expect from investing. Whichever number is bigger, well, that's where your money is going to do the most work for you. So if your debt has a higher rate, paying it off actually gives you a better return. So if you look back at history, the stock market, we're talking about something like the S&P 500, has returned on average around 9 to 10% a year. Now think about the interest rate on your student loan or your car payment. You can start to see why investing is so darn tempting when that kind of potential growth is on the table. So here's a really simple way to think about it. If your debt's interest rate is over 7%, the math is super clear. You got to pay it down. That's expensive debt. Now, if the rate is under 4%, like with a lot of mortgages, investing probably makes more sense, since you can reasonably expect to earn more than that. But what about that middle zone, between 4 and 7%? Well, that's the gray area. The math is kind of a toss-up, and the choice is really yours. And think about it like this for a second. Paying off a credit card that has a 20% interest rate is literally the same as getting a guaranteed, tax-free 20% return on your money. Tell me, where else in the world can you find a guaranteed return like that? You can't. For high-interest debt, paying it off is the best investment, period. Okay, we've gone through all the math, but here's the thing about personal finance. It's not just about the numbers. It's personal. It's about what helps you feel secure. It's about what helps you sleep better at night. So let's talk about that psychology factor. This quote from an online discussion just nails it. No spreadsheet in the world can tell you what the feeling of being debt-free is actually worth. For some people, that mental freedom is way more valuable than any potential investment gain. And you know what? That is a perfectly valid choice to make. This whole head versus heart idea plays out perfectly in two really famous debt payoff strategies. The avalanche method, that's pure logic. You attack your highest interest rate debt first to save the most money over time. But the snowball method, that's all about emotion. You pay off your smallest debt first just to get that quick, motivating win that keeps you going. So the trade-off is pretty clear. It's motivation versus savings. The debt snowball is really built for people who need to see progress to stay in the game. The debt avalanche, on the other hand, is for people who are laser-focused on efficiency and saving the most money. Neither one is wrong. The best strategy is just the one you'll actually stick with. So, after all of that, the math, the psychology, how do you actually make the right call for yourself? Well, it's all about finding that perfect blend of logic and your own personality. Okay, here's your action plan. Step 1, get all the numbers right there in front of you. List out your debts and what their interest rates are. Step 2, compare those rates to the stock market's historical return. Step 3, and this is so important, be honest with yourself. What really drives you? Is it pure efficiency and saving money, or is it that feeling of making progress? Because at the end of the day, a perfect plan that you quit after a month doesn't do you any good. The plan you can actually stick with is the one that wins.
And all of this brings us to the final, most important question. What's more valuable to you? What your money can earn, or the peace of mind that it can buy? There's no right answer for everyone. The best choice is simply the one that lets you build a better life on your own terms.